cataclysmic terrorist attacks of September 11th, 2001 happened almost 11 years ago and still affects our present-day reality, politically, economically, socially, and mentally, as we see our civil rights slowly eroding from what our past generations fought so desperately to preserve. Numerous wars have been planned and executed in the past 10 years due to these specific terrorist events in which our nation joined as part of the coalition of the willing. After all, as previous President George Bush declared, either you were with us or you are with the enemy. But the surprising reality is that there are dozens, if not hundreds, of unanswered questions about that fateful day that politicians and mainstream media actively avoid. One example that I hold close to my heart is that 24 Canadians died in those murderous attacks, and yet the Canadian government has failed to investigate these crimes and accept the unsupported evidence produced by the former Bush administration as fact. I believe all Canadians deserve due process and better leadership than that. The question I have is, when will the Canadian government perform proper due diligence and bring justice to the families of the victims? There are over 1,700 professional and credible architects and engineers worldwide, even here in Victoria, that contest the official conspiracy theory that Osama bin Laden and his 19 Arab hijackers defeated the world's most heavily secured nation with simple box cutters. One of these exceptionally intelligent architects and engineers is San Francisco Bay Area architect Richard Gage, a member of the American Institute of Architects and founder of the Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth. On Monday, March 26th, Richard Gage will be speaking in Victoria, presenting his speech entitled 9/11, Re-examining the Destruction of 3 World Trade Center Skyscrapers. Presenting at the Alix Goolden Hall at 7:30 p.m., Richard will re-examine the scientific facts that are not commonly known or educated among the mainstream media. Those who attend the presentation will have the opportunity to join Richard in re-examining scientific facts of modern architecture, converse with other like-minded caring individuals, and have your question answered by industry-leading experts of architecture and engineering. My name is Paul, and I'm a local Victorian who cares about our future as a local community, as a nation, and as a global community. In today's episode of Freedom Free For All, we will discuss some of the scientific facts surrounding 9/11 that Richard Gage will be covering in his upcoming presentation on Monday, March 26th at the Alix Goolden Hall.
Hi, my name's Greg Hill.
My name is Brad Rhodes.
Hi, my name's Josh Steffler. I'm with We Are Change Victoria. We're filming this for Freedom Free For All.
Today I'm going to be reading from this card 11 remarkable facts about 9/11.
We have 11 facts, and as it's been said before, people are entitled to their own opinions, but they're not entitled to their own facts.
So I'm going to give you the 11 remarkable facts about 9/11.
Number 11. The Jersey Girls, 4 courageous 9/11 widows, finally forced the 9/11 Commission into existence and presented many questions, most of which were ignored.
Under the leadership of Bush administration insider Philip Zelikow, the final report failed to address any of the evidence pointing to official complicity.
Number 10. The Bush administration resisted the formation of the 9/11 Commission for 441 days.
Similar investigations such as those for Pearl Harbor, JFK assassinations, the space shuttle disaster, all started in about 1 week.
Number 9. Some of the alleged 9/11 suicide hijackers are still alive and well.
According to the BBC, The Guardian, at least 5 of the alleged hijackers may have trained at United States military bases, as reported by Newsweek and other media news sources.
Number 8. In September of 2000, a group of neocon hawks, many of whom would become key officials in the Bush administration,
wrote that their proposed massive military buildup would proceed slowly, absent some catastrophic and catalyzing event like a new Pearl Harbor.
Number 7. There were warnings of the impending attacks from at least 11 other countries.
Also, prior to 9/11, insiders such as John Ashcroft, top military officers, and San Francisco Mayor Willie Brown were warned not to fly.
Number 6. Unidentified insiders made millions on the stocks of American and United Airlines, and those of other corporations that were likewise impacted by the attacks.
These put option bets were placed just prior to 9/11.
Number 5. The Secret Service broke established protocols by allowing President Bush to remain in a well-publicized classroom for a photo op
Long after it was known that the United States was under attack, and that he might well have been a target.
Number 4. Whenever contact is lost with an airplane, fighter jets routinely take to the air to investigate.
This commonly occurs about 100 times per year in well under 20 minutes. But on 9/11, nearly 2 hours passed without any interceptions.
Number 3. The World Trade Center steel, which if fully examined could have revealed the effects of explosives, was quickly shipped overseas
and melted down. This was an unprecedented violation of federal crime scene laws. Number 2. Fire has never, prior to or after 9/11, caused any steel frame building to collapse.
The sudden vertical collapse and total collapses of twin towers at near free fall speeds can only be explained by controlled demolition.
Number 1. The mysterious collapse of World Trade Center Building 7. It is commonly known that the Twin Towers fell on 9/11, but did you know that a third World Trade Center building also fell that day?
World Trade Center Building 7, a 47-story steel-frame skyscraper located 1 block from the Twin Towers, was not hit by any plane.
But it collapsed at 5:20 that evening, imploding in the exact manner of a professionally engineered demolition.
It fell suddenly, straight down at near free fall speed, and landed in a compact pile of rubble, barely damaging any of the surrounding buildings.
These are but a few of 11 characteristics of Building 7's collapse that are consistent only with controlled demolition.
Astonishingly, there is no mention of WTC-7's collapse in the 571-page 9/11 Commission report.
Intrigues me very much about the 9/11 issue is the World Trade Center 7 building, and the fact that 25 minutes before it collapsed, it was being reported on BBC in London as having already collapsed. That's one that really intrigues me.
Well, for me, why I'm feeling a need to be involved is the human element of trauma. There's lots of information that supports, that we should question those events. But for me, really and truly, it's the human element, the trauma that's happened to the people of New York City, to the families, to the rescue workers, to the people of Iraq, the civilians that have been, devalued. The American soldiers themselves who do not, they're kids, they're just kids, and they don't want to participate in these crimes, and the trauma associated for them as well. I mean, there's so many people that have been affected by this, and I can't let that sit and go on unchallenged and have nobody be held accountable.
About 10 hours after the thing happened, we're getting a story from the CIA and the official administration of the United States about how it happened. And this is a conspiracy theory, like anything else. People are believing this on the basis of emotion, not on the basis of the evidence that they should look at and that can be proven as fact. I was saying to myself, they better take a damn good look at this evidence before they decide who did it and go over it very thoroughly. And of course, they did none of that, and they haven't to this day. And once you get a cover-up and people say, well, we got the evidence, but we're not going to show you. Well, you get kicked out of court right there. They say either you do it or your case over. Anyway, that was what I really thought based on my experience as a lawyer.
9/11 represents a tremendous amount of deception that we're subjected to as citizens. We vote for people, we hope that they will work in our best interest. 9/11 is evidence that this is not the case. 9/11 illustrates why we have to shrewdly examine our people that's supposed to represent us in office. We cannot be complacent about the trust we give our politicians any longer. We need to realize that we have to very seriously guard ourselves against tyranny.
The one thing that bothers me most about 9/11 and what got me looking into it myself is that people don't show you where the benefit is, who is benefiting from these events.
The pancake theory about what brought the buildings down can't possibly hold up. And in 2002, I remember when I first started reading material on the internet, the pancake theory was exposed to be fraudulent. In other words, the buildings were brought down by internal demolition. That's the only other plausible explanation.
There's a number of different things, but one of the biggest things is that they found the presence of thermate, which is a high-tech incendiary used by the U.S. military. And you combine that with the molten metal that stayed there for weeks and weeks after the collapse of the buildings. It's pretty clear that those buildings were detonated.
I'm involved in this because I think it's so important that as many people as possible know about 9/11. I'm a physics teacher, and I had my students calculate how long it would take something in free fall to fall. I've forgotten how many meters it is, and it comes out to be about 9.2 seconds. And then I had my students time it, and it takes about 11 seconds. And just the realization that there's no way that could have happened the way the official story presents it. That to me is key.
I saw Richard Gage on a YouTube clip that a friend turned me on to. I wasn't really open-minded to the whole 9/11 thing at first, and he told me to just take a look at this, so I did, and it's kind of broadened my mind as to what possibly could have happened.
The biggest one is steel structures falling at free fall speed with no resistance. Doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, the free fall speed is big, and how it collapsed into its own footprint is also very peculiar.
Another big one is, in the history of the world, out of all fires on steel structured buildings, 3 have fallen in the same day. and they're the only ones in the history of the world that have ever done that before. So that's pretty shocking to me there. And the fact that building 7, a whole football field away, falls at free fall speed with minimal amounts of fires on like 2 floors or something. So it's like, I don't know, good excuse to go to war, I guess.
There's also, talks of traces of thermite that were found in the building, which is one of the only known chemicals that is known to burn through solid steel, is also very compelling evidence.
And the fact that there's over 1,500 engineers and architects internationally that have signed up and back them up, so it's hard to argue all those facts. Definitely, if Richard Gage came to town, I would go see him for sure. There's lots of information that you can always study again and again and again. And I'd definitely like to see some people come out, some more people that are missing from the first events, such as maybe some faculty of UVic, some professionals in the community, and anyone that doesn't like war should come out and check it out, because that's what's going on.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about going to this event. He presents factual science, and he doesn't present far-fetched conspiracy theories.
Let's perform a little experiment. That's what we do in science. We're going to drop both of these 15-story buildings at the same time. Let's see what happens. 1, 2, 3. Oh my God, this one hit the ground first at free fall speed. That's what we're talking about. There is going to be some resistance in this building. 80,000 tons of structural steel designed to resist this load. It can't crush it at all, really. If you look at the technical articles, the downward momentum is arrested almost immediately, as seen by those articles on our website. But if it is going to crush it, it's going to slow it down somewhat. Even without any columns in the building, the momentum transfer between the floors is going to take some time. Some calculate that to be about 30 seconds. That's without any structural steel.
It's actual factual science that doesn't add up to the official commission report. So I'm going to go see what he has to say, and I would definitely encourage other people to keep an open-minded approach and check it out too. People that would benefit the most from seeing this is pretty much everybody. I think this is a truth and something that needs to be shown to the world. I guess the outcome I'd like to see from this event is maybe people doing their own investigation and own research instead of just buying what official stories are thrown to us from media. Because I don't believe we're always getting the full story.
So now I'm reading from World Trade Center Twin Towers Explosive Evidence, a rack card available at ae911truth.org.
Why are architects and engineers re-examining the destruction of the World Trade Center complex? 4 to 20-ton steel columns and beam sections were severed at their connections and hurled into the sides of neighboring buildings over 2 football fields away.
FDNY found several tons of molten metal flowing like lava under all 3 high-rises. 1400 degree Fahrenheit office fires cannot produce 2700 degree Fahrenheit molten steel temperatures without thermite incendiaries.
Microspheres formed from molten iron, the byproduct of thermite, were found in the World Trade Center dust by United States agency, environmental firms, and independent physicists. Unignited thermite chips have also been discovered.
The shock from the staggering loss of life and destruction on 9/11 left most of us relying upon analysis offered by pre-selected experts with conflicts of interest.
Since 2001, we have had time to emerge from the hypnotic trance of the trauma and begin to rationally assess the scientific forensic evidence.
The evaluation cast grave doubt upon the media stories and the official reports by 9/11 Commission, FEMA, NIST, National Institute of Standards and Technology.
We hope you'll find the courage to review this information thoroughly.
At ae911truth.org, you will find a convincing case
that the World Trade Center high-rise buildings were destroyed by classic as well as new forms of explosive controlled demolitions.
Hundreds of building professionals are demanding a real investigation. Join us.
While on the subject of explosive demolitions, let's look at some basic common occurrences in an explosive demolition.
An explosive demolition. 15 facts from ae911truth.org.
Sudden onset of destruction.
Destruction occurred at near free-fall pace.
Destruction followed path of greatest resistance.
20-ton steel columns ejected laterally up to 500 feet.
Blast waves blew out windows in buildings 400 feet away.
118 first responders report explosions at onset of destruction.
Numerous eyewitness reports of flowing molten lava in the rubble.
Mid-air pulverization of concrete with outward arching plumes.
Rapid expansion and pyroclastic flow of enormous dust clouds.
Squibs, explosive ejections 40 stories below the impact zone.
The total dismemberment of steel core column structures.
1,200 feet diameter symmetrical debris field.
Chemical evidence of thermite on steel and in the dust cells.
FEMA steel analysis. Sulfidation, oxidation, and intergranular melting.
No precedent for steel frame high-rise collapse caused by fire.
Thank you for watching this episode of Freedom Free for All. I hope the information presented resonates with you in your quest for historical accuracy, government transparency, and truth. As Albert Einstein said, the important thing is to not stop questioning. The Greater Victoria community is invited to attend this important presentation with San Francisco Bay Area architect Richard Gage, a member of the American Institute of Architects and founder of the Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth, on Monday, March 26, 2012, at the Alix Goolden Hall located at 907 Pandora Avenue. Richard Gage, a San Francisco Bay Area architect, a member of the American Institute of Architects, and founder of the nonprofit Architects and Engineer for 9/11 Truth, will discuss the organization's startling findings based on examination of forensic evidence, videos, and eyewitness testimony emitted from the official reports, such as the free-fall collapse of the 47-story World Trade Center Building No. 7 into its own footprint, and the discovery of advanced explosive nanothermitic materials found in the World Trade Center dust. Richard's presentation will detail the scientific issues raised by these building and technical professionals, whose findings reveal that all three skyscrapers, World Trade Center 1, World Trade Center 2, and Building 7, were destroyed by explosive, controlled demolition, not by jet plane impacts and fires. Decide for yourself whether the official U.S. government story of September 11, 2001 is in fact the way things really happened. After all, we can't solve the problems of today or the future using the same methodology that got us into the problem in the first place. Let's clear the confusion and get the facts straight so that we can create a peaceful and prosperous future with balanced information, making educated decisions, and maintaining freedom free for all. Thank you.
I walk the streets asking questions. I go uptown asking questions. I walk around asking questions. I go to work asking questions about 9/11. People look at me and say I'm crazy. What do you mean? Building 7. Who was it said so well read? Truth is enemy of the state. I wanna live, yeah, so free. Lies cannot be our fate. People look at me as if I'm crazy. What do you mean, building 7? Oh, look so hypnotic. Fit in, feel patriotic. Feels like post-traumatic stress disorder. Looks like the new world order. People look at me as if I'm crazy. What do you mean, building 7? Ostracize, don't forget it. Demonize, don't think about it. You cannot think at all. Oh, people think I'm crazy. What do you mean, building 7? I walk the streets asking questions. I go uptown asking questions. I walk around asking questions about 9/11. People think I'm crazy. What do you mean, building 7? Oh, they think I'm so crazy. What do you mean, building 7? Thank you.